Hey, what's up, movers? Coach Hal with you here today, looking at a standing variation. We call this the half kneeling to stand up, drop and hold for 30 seconds. This is going to light up your backside. I'm excited to get us on our feet today. So we do start on the ground. We will start in a half kneeling position. We are going to go working on the left side to begin with. Follow along with me if you would like to do so. I would highly encourage it. Start with your left side if you want. Start with your right, whatever you would like to do so. Maybe start with your strong side so you can feel this movement, understand what we're looking for, and then we can start incorporating both sides, left and right. So I'm going to be working on my left side today. With that being said, I want to get my right leg and come into a half kneeling position with the left foot forward. This is our working side. Our working leg is forward. Our non-working leg is kneeling on the ground. The distance we want from our foot to our back leg, from our front foot to our back leg, is going to vary with your range of motion, with your ability. I like to start further back and I can work my way in. The further back we go, the more space or the more length that we will be required to own and have in our backside through the hamstring and through the glute. So if you feel like you don't have a ton of space there, if you were to inch forward, this is going to make this movement much more accessible and higher quality of work for you. So when we are in our half kneeling position, we really want to go ahead and try and stand ourselves tall. If you need an elevated surface in front of you, you can do that. If you have a stick or a pole, a broomstick, anything to hold here, maybe that's something that you can utilize to make sure that as you are in this half kneeling position, you have pressure in the in the glutes, in the hamstrings, and those are the muscles that we're using today. So of the working leg, left leg, we're gonna place our left hand on this left knee, take our non-working side, our right hand, place it on the ground, next to and or a little bit in front of our foot, and we want to play with taking the left hip and hiking it high to the sky, driving the left hip wide, high to the sky, bringing the tailbone back left wide and high, trying to create as much length and space in our hip and in that hamstring as much as possible, while at the same time taking the outer blade of the left foot and driving it into the floor, trying to drive the knee, trying to drive the foot as hard into the ground, bringing space and length into the backside as we drive the hip high. We are going to start driving more and more pressure through the foot, feeling activation of the hamstring and the glute. We're going to tuck our toes on the non-working right leg and now lift ourselves off the ground slightly. You can inch forward with this foot as much as you need be, and I want about 5% pressure in this right non-working leg. The rest of our pressure is going in through our left side. Driving that foot into the ground as hard as you can, we're going to take our left arm, pack the elbow back, pack the shoulder back, and we are going to pick ourselves up with this packing right elbow and right shoulder, pressing through the ground, through the outside of the left foot as hard as we can, bringing the hips high, and using the packing of our elbow and shoulder back is going to slowly stand us up. We are feeling a lot of work and pressure into the hamstring, lateral calf, glutes, maybe a little below back. If there's too much low back, let's do a slight tuck to make sure that the majority of our pressure is coming through that glute and hamstring area. We're keeping our shoulders packed back, pulling ourselves up off the floor with that engaged back left side. And once we get to our standing area here, we want to continue to pull the left hip as high as we can, high and wide, utilizing that glute strength that we have. We're going to try and stand as tall as we can, taking this left pec, raising it toward the sky, bringing the crown of our head as tall as we can, and utilizing this slight side bend of our torso, packing that hip as much as we can, as much loading into this left hip as we can. And now that we've spent about 30 seconds up top here in this drop-in hold, we are going to bring ourselves back to the floor. We're going to start bringing ourselves back to the floor by taking our left hip, driving it as far back and as high to the sky as we can, allowing ourselves to fall forward, keeping engagement in the backside the entire time. If you need to give a little bit more weight on that right leg so you can continue to keep your balance and keep that pressure in the left side, do so. But keeping as much pressure in this left side as we can, coming down as slowly as possible. You should be able to touch the ground here, still feeling engagement in the left hamstring, in the left glute. And if you need to, you can start pointing this left glute and hip as high to the sky as possible. As high to the sky and as far back as possible, using the outside blade of that left foot to drive to the floor and push that hip back even further. We're once again going to take this left arm, we're going to pack our elbow back, pack our shoulder back, and we're going to pack it back so hard that it is starting to bring us up again. Pressurizing outside, bring the hip high and long back with our shoulder, with our lat, creating this slight side bend. And once again, standing tall, keeping pressure in that glute, playing with our tailbone wherever it needs to be to funnel as much pressure to our glutes as possible. Staying with our slight torso bend to the left side, slight side bend, and bringing the crown and the head as tall as possible. Getting as tall as we can here. Holding this, making sure our feet are working, especially that left foot, as much pressure through the floor, through that outside blade as possible, bringing it up through the hamstrings and the glutes, and once again, minimizing the amount of work our lower back has to do by playing with the position of our tailbone, finding as much engagement in our glutes and hamstrings, and now bringing the hips back as far back and as high as possible, allowing the upper body to fall forward in a very slow, very controlled manner. I'm not simply just falling to the ground here, letting my body loose. I am holding on to all of this pressure and the backside of my hip, hamstrings, calves, feet are working, and now I'm going to slowly release myself and allow myself to come back to the ground. If you just did this with me and you had a hard time engaging the backside, lots of pinching in the front, this is a bit more of an advanced movement. It does call for length and strength in the backside to do this efficiently. If you struggled with this, let's go over it a little bit more and or spend some more time on the ground building strength and getting more length in the backside before we're getting into this movement. I would always love to help you progress and see you get better. I'm wishing you the best of luck. Hope you stay blessed. Until next time, Coach Howe out.